So at Sound Lab, we believe that music matters. Like, we have a fundamental belief that music matters intrinsically to us as human beings, but it also acts as like a gateway to other areas of development in your life. I suppose for us as volunteers, it's a way of doing something for the community and doing something for children and young people that hopefully helps them and gives them a good experience, and just provides an outlet for them where they can be creative and they can learn something new and have fun and make new friends, develop new skills, but also just like connect with music and creativity as well. So I think in terms of an ethos, it's really just about the importance of music and making sure that we can remove all the possible and many systemic barriers that there are to people accessing music and creativity. So that's kind of how it come about and how we run it just now. Sound Lab is open to anyone. So we've delivered workshops with really young kids straight through to working adult care homes and working with the elderly as well. So we'll go wherever the need is.
The way that young people find out about Sound Lab or have access to our tuition and workshops is a referral through a social worker or a support worker, maybe a member of staff at the school, and then we kind of take the application from there, find out what their needs are, what their interests are, what kind of music they like, and we'll match them to a project of ours. So sometimes that might be one-to-ones, or it could be group workshops, depending on what they're interested in and what they need. We work mainly with young people who face barriers, but really it's open to all groups. Predominantly, we work with young people who are care experienced or going through the asylum seeking process or refugees, and also young people who have additional support needs.
And we're really careful, we don't want to reinforce existing stigmas that too often affect those groups, but we do know a lot about, and we have a strong evidence base about the systemic, cultural, practical, financial barriers that really prevent these young people often accessing music and the arts. So that our whole model is really based around removing those barriers, and it's really about giving equitable access. So everyone deserves the right to have the chance to be creative and to learn new things and to access music. And it's our fundamental belief and commitment, and something that drives us every single day, is to make sure that we remove those barriers and young people who may otherwise not have the chance to be creative are provided with these opportunities. So as you can imagine, our tuition is completely free to the point of access, so young people never have to pay for our services at all. We use expert tutors. They are paid at musician union rates. They're really skilled facilitators, not just skilled musicians, but actually really skilled facilitators working with young people. So they have skills that get beyond just being able to teach someone. They can really engage with young people and provide the consistent relationship that is too often missing.
The clearest analogy I have and the clearest example I have of empowering a young person is that simple act of handing them a microphone. So if we create an environment where we break down the barriers to access, then we can create that equality of access that can only improve the industry that some of us are lucky enough to work in, you know?
I got contacted through, I think it was my social worker, who knew that I was interested in DJing and producing. I'd kind of done things in my own time, and she says that this programme sounded right up my street. I'd be provided with funding and kind of mentorship, and that's what I really needed. I expressed her that I was doing a lot of my music in my own time and I was maybe struggling with a few things. So as soon as she sent me this, I was like, that sounds ideal. It was so beneficial for me because I was just kind of like a lost cause at it. Like I was just teaching myself, and a lot of the things I was unsure of, I wasn't confident in. So yeah, I really needed that. Just people like myself, like who are disadvantaged, being in care, don't have like parental funds, support. I think a lot of those children kind of get left behind, not to sound like a pure sob story, do you know what I mean? But it's true. I think if it wasn't for yourselves, you wouldn't have had access to a lot of the things that I have done, and wouldn't have had the opportunities.
We want to make sure that the young people we're working with, they feel that there's room for them in the music scene, that a career in music is viable for them. So we'll do lessons with them, but we'll also take them into the recording studio for the first time. And then on top of that, we'll work with community partners like Clyde Built Radio and Radio Buena Vida to make sure that that music gets played on the radio for the first time, and such a special moment for a young person to hear your tunes on the radio for the first time. So as of 2024, we now have our first kind of permanent fixed premises. We have a shared office cum rehearsal space. But for a long time, Sound Lab has operated like a hermit crab. It's a really flexible, adaptable model. We teach the young people what they want to learn at a time that they want to learn it, and in an environment that suits them. And that's been the case for a long time, and that's not going to change. So we'll meet the young people where they are.
A lot of the time it will be existing groups of young people that are working through an outreach organisation or a third sector organisation already. And those projects and those partners are really valuable because they already have an in-depth knowledge to some extent of the young people that they're working with. And that's when the communication is really important, to find out how we can best suit their needs and what they're most interested in and what they'll enjoy.
It's really important to have organisations like this which are about people and about music and the power of music. And that's what's at the centre. So it's about music as self-expression, music as empowerment, music as people being able to speak their own truth, music as self-discovery, music as the kind of friendship elements of music and what can come from music, and working collaboratively on something. I think for some of our young people, articulating yourself and expressing yourself within friendships and within relationships can be really quite difficult, and music's a really good way to be able to do that.
Because the guys that we support all have profound and multiple learning disabilities, we're always looking for innovative activities that they can engage with. They've got limited understanding, and everyday activities don't always work for them. So to be able to bring those activities into their home so that they can still enjoy it, so that they can see Keith on the screen whom they recognise, they can see other people, other family members, other people with PMLD on the screen that they recognise, and all that from the comfort of their own home. It's just been tremendous.
Access to music is like really important for young people in particular, and I think the Sound Lab do that really excellently, and in working with young people, particularly in the care system.
It is fantastic when you see the amount of times you see those people come together. Sometimes it literally is people who can't speak each other's language, but they very, very quickly, within 15 minutes, are playing a song together. Because again, you got that universal language of music. As long as you can hear a rhythm or feel a rhythm even, you can start creating music together.
By that time, I just came in Glasgow for about a year. My level of English was very low, so I looked for a lot of space just to improve myself. Okay, so one of them I found in the Facebook, and Sound Lab. It's shared like a poster. It said for integration. I can't remember exactly what it was, but something like for integration and speaking English, improve your language and learn language. Like, I don't need to know your language to play music with you. So it was amazing. The organization came and give us this opportunity.
And it brings them out of their shell. Some people, you see them, they're quite quiet when you first meet them. But by the end of the sessions, you've met this person that's just totally came out of their shell. They're vibrant, they're confident, and they're telling all their friends what they've achieved and what they've learned. There was a guy who I taught picked things up very, very quickly. You know, by the time we were doing about 2 or 3 sessions, he was ready to perform. And then I remember we'd done a big showcase over at Govan, and I got a bit emotional when I saw him, you know, actually performing. And we had a guitar player and we had a singer, but he was the one that got everyone going. And I was just like, wow, you know, I was just sat at the stage just watching him and never got involved, just let him get on with his own thing. He didn't need me to go and say, do this, why don't you do that? Just got on with it, and everyone was up dancing.
To have that applause, that cheering come back at them, that's important, I think. It must be, you know, in terms of confidence, if you think, well, whatever else you're going to do in your life, if you say, well, I stood up and I played guitar and I sang my own songs 4 times in front of an audience of 50 to 100 or more people, whatever else happens in your life, you always got that in your back pocket.
So I worked with this a young person who was part of the secure care. The work we did together, we worked together for 5 months. twice a week for 5 months. It was a really, really long project, probably the longest project I've been involved with, and we just made tunes. I saw the impact and I saw that growth and I saw that confidence build, and even listening back to the tunes now, I hear the tunes that we started with and I hear the tunes that we ended with, and it was like you can track the growth over this period, this wee boy becoming a young man, you know? And that was just, I just had such an incredible experience for hopefully both of us, you know?
When young people start out, they don't always seem to have like a sure sense of, you know, what this is about, what they're doing. They know they want to try something creative, but they've maybe not had an opportunity to express that before. And as the weeks go on, working with them, you can just see like the excitement and their confidence and their like sort of the security in their own ideas grow. And that's really, really rewarding. Everybody that's involved with the Sound Lab really cares about music and cares about the young people that we're working with, and we all know the benefit that that's having. And just gives young people hope, I think, and allows them to feel that they can do things that they maybe wouldn't have thought they could previously do.
I think Sound Lab is something that everyone who's involved in it is genuinely proud to be involved in it. And I think that comes down to a couple of reasons, in that they see the impact that we're having on a lot of young people. I ultimately, I think just being involved in music in whatever capacity, whether that's playing, or teaching, or kind of helping young people achieve what they want to achieve, you know, I think that's just an awesome thing to do.
Tutors were like really, really inspiring as well as influential, just in not knowing them before the workshops, like coming in very blind, and then like the way they facilitated the space, regardless of level or knowledge or even just capabilities. They really made it so that even though they were one-off sessions, I left feeling like I would do this every week. Like if you were running this every week, I want to be there and just learn more about. They were very particular about how what they were teaching had played a part in their journey. And when you hear it like that, it's like, whoa, and I see you were able of doing this and you started like this, kind of helps to create a mental journey for myself.
Seeing their confidence grow and them finding different interests and me sort of moving with them and learning things as well. Especially since I was working with a lot of people that have come from other countries, like learning about the music from their cultures. I've really, also sort of got a bit of an insight into how piano music can be done differently as well, and it's been a real learning journey for me as well.
So Sound Lab was set up in the early 2000s in the East End of Glasgow in Tollcross. It was actually set up by in memory of an inspirational young guy called Kevin, who died tragically on holiday. So there's a group of community members in Tollcross, particularly a guy called Kevin Carroll and Polly McCoy, who decided they wanted to do something in his name and to have something set up to give young people, specifically in Tollcross at that time, an outlet and something to do.
Neither Polly and I had really done anything quite like it before, but managed to be just... Polly was the driving force, and I basically brought different types of experience, and you know, for music, youth work, because I was a youth worker at the time, stuff like that. When I was growing up around about this area, you didn't see a lot of people walking about with guitars. Musical instruments wasn't something people walked about with and stuff like that. When I walked around with my guitar, people would chase me along the street saying, "Hey mate, give us a tune, mate, give us a shot of your guitar." You know, part of the ethos was to try and bring that back a wee bit and make sure that whether kids wanted to play an instrument or no, they could come along and they could be involved, they could be part of, you know, other people learning the instruments and be exposed to people making music, so that it's not this far away sort of thing that people did somewhere else. It could happen in the community. Main achievements of the Sound Lab were the little things. It was engaging people with music for the first time, helping a kid that even if they could sort of get to a point they could play the drums, getting them to have the confidence to set up the drum kit themselves. Regardless of how well they were doing at music, it was like, could they play in a band? Could they sit with somebody else that they don't know and write something together? Could they just have the confidence and the self-esteem to show their creativity in front of other people? So there was a few big events, but the stuff that I remember is stuff like that, really.
So hopefully we've done justice to the founder of Sound Lab, and we've created something that not just now operates in Tollcross, but operates across Glasgow and even across Scotland as well. I think one of the things I'm most proud of is just the achievements of a really, really small team. So we have been able to support literally hundreds of young people with thousands and thousands of hours of tuition and mentoring support, and that's been done with a tiny, tiny team with Barrett of 12.
Sound Lab for me has been such an incredible community, and getting to know the tutors, and then I feel like that really feeds into how the sessions are run and then how they sort of get the young people involved. All these really open-minded people that then are bonding over the music. I think it does create an incredible community, and yeah, you really see that when you go to the events. That it's quite touching to be like, oh, all these people have met through Sound Lab.
I've been doing a lot of different types of work, a lot of different roles, responsibilities, and it hasn't been many organizations and there hasn't been many collectives of people that have really left an imprint on my heart, and I'm like, I connect with them. I always want to be connected. I never want to be like, just go on with my life and act like that didn't happen. This is good energy.
Organizations like Sound Lab, super essential to the lifeblood of not just creativity in Glasgow, or may I say even Scotland, but building community. A space is all that it takes to bring people together, and you never know, and sometimes you don't have control over what comes out of that space moving forward, but that becomes a bookmark in the history of Scottish music of this event was held, these people were there, because of that these people met, and maybe they went on to do something beautiful